All right. Good evening, good Friday night, Florida Panther fans. Normally we say good morning. Stu's Stu is in a secret hideout location there. He's got the little bit of sunlight right behind him. He's got
No,
the
I have
palm.
no sunlight.
No, that's dark.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's you know, you guys got a lot of like ambient light. You've got the city lights. Stu is in for me, man, if you could step outside my door and it's pitch black already out here, man. We go by the moonlight out here. So welcome to our first Florida Panthers fans have their say live stream of the season. I'm hoping to do more of these than we did last year. I think maybe we did, I don't know, four of those, maybe four or five last year. We'll
It
see
was
how this
fun.
one. Yeah, it was fun. We'll see how it goes. If enough people show up, we can make it a monthly thing, something like that. If we get too many people, we'll go weekly, and if we get enough people, we'll just charge admission. Stu is going to charge admission. So you guys have heard enough from us over the last couple of weeks. The only thing I'll say about the Panther season so far is that I said this on the podcast today. It said, and I realize it's early, and I realize it doesn't matter. That said, when you take games in the hand into consideration, we're in second place.
Here we go.
Yeah, hey. Okay, so Stu's checking out the
Cuban
chat.
Casanova. What is the meaning of life?
Dogs. Dogs. As much free time as you possibly can with your kids and dogs. That's it. That is why I am broke, because my currency is time. My currency is time. So I don't have a lot of money, but I have time. That's what I give. That's my meaning of life. Anyway, I think for Stu, it's tall blondes, tall thin blondes.
Blue eyes.
There you go.
Yeah, but there's more to life than blondes.
Brunettes.
No. Panthers hockey. You two in the sphere.
Yeah, you two in the sphere. Yeah. I'll throw in the new episodes of Life from Daryl's house. As
My
also
cats.
your cats. How many cats you got? How come we never see the cats?
Because one won't let me pick her up. Let me see if hold on.
Yeah, we
I
want to
doubt
see.
it, but we'll see.
We want to see Stu play with his pussies. Huh? All right, so let's see. We got Cuban here, Sweet the Drifter. Now, Facebook user, on and I think it says good night. When somebody joins us on Facebook, unfortunately here on StreamYard, we don't see the name, but Stu has got the YouTube chat up, so he'll probably be able to see your name. And Jason, how do we fix the PP issue? So I'll let Stu and I'll talk about that once he comes back, and then Greg is with us, so Greg's going to join us first in just a couple of minutes. Greg, give me the thumbs up. Everything's good. And then, all right. Well, so once you hear me scream your name, we'll pop you on here. Hey, look at this. That's the girl cat or the boy
No,
cat?
that's the boy. That's the son. That's Herschel, and he doesn't like me holding him.
We never knew. Look at this.
Such a good boy.
How old is he?
I don't know. 5, 6.
5, 6. Okay.
The mother was feral, and my ex rescued her.
Gotcha.
So she's very lovey.
Right.
She wants attention 24/7, but you can't pick her up. You can't pick her up.
Gotcha. In the YouTube chat, can you see the names? Because all I see is Facebook user. So who is under?
Yeah, so I see Swit the Drifter.
Right, and then Cuban.
Cuban Casanova. Hey, right. Jason Todd.
Jason.
How do we fix his power play? We'll get there, bud.
Yeah, we'll get
there. We're just kind of.
Yeah.
We're settling in. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo.
Hey, bud. Yo.
Did you see how big that cat was, man? That's feeding him too much.
That's a big pussy, Stu. You got a big pussy. Yeah. All right. So with that, without further ado, Greg, I'm getting ready to bring you on. And how you doing, my friend?
Hey,
good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, and good night. All of those things. How you doing? But nice jersey.
I'm doing well. Yeah, yeah. Actually, here if I can just for a moment.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you can see. You guys see the back?
We see 89, and
We
that
don't see
Yeah.
is
we don't see the name. Is
we
it
didn't see
your
the
name?
name.
Yeah, it's my name, Almeida. 89 is the year I was born, so
Damn, I'm really old, aren't I?
that's the custom. That's
Wow.
actually the same custom job that I do on all my jerseys for Heat, Marlins,
Gotcha,
Dolphins. I do
gotcha.
89 Almeida. So
Very,
I
very
moved to
cool.
Florida January 4th, 1989.
really,
Ah, yeah.
well, I was born
1989 is
October 1st, so just happened
okay. Very cool.
last month.
Yeah, October of '89 is actually when I signed the papers to go into the U.S. Air Force.
Mm,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Go figure,
very
right?
cool.
Nobody. Yeah. So, all right, but what you got for us, Greg? Just it's Florida Panthers have fans have their say. So if you got questions, we got answers. If you got answers, go ahead and just the floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to say like a couple of things. First, just to each one of you. First of all, thank you guys so much for doing what you do. Um, I know we're always talking about like growing the channel and bringing more people in, and we love
Right.
having all these fans going showing up at the playoff games now. But with all due respect, I think we all know at the back of our heads that we don't have the biggest fan base.
Right.
And we gotta. But the people that are here year in and year out, that care about hockey, that don't just get on the bandwagon when the team's
Right.
good. We got to look out for each other because there's
Amen.
not really a lot of us. We're not the
Absolutely.
Leafs, we're not the Rangers, we're not whoever else. So
Right. Right.
um,
I
I
appreciate that.
discovered this channel right at about like just before the playoffs of the President's Trophy season,
Okay. Okay.
and I've been on it ever since. And
Fantastic.
it was just random. I was just like
Yeah.
searching for more online content for Panthers, and I was
Right.
obviously so psyched, and everybody was hyped up. Um, but I've been a fan since 2002,
Okay.
which is when I started following sports in general.
Right.
Um, I like you, Jaws. Have lived formerly in Miami. Spent 20 years of my life there, and I now live in Maryland.
Oh, really? Where at?
Yeah, Silver Spring.
Oh, geez. Okay. So I'm just outside of Chestertown in Wharton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
you're on the
he's
Eastern
in
Shore.
yeah,
Right?
we're
Yeah.
on the other
in
side. Yeah. I could ride my kayak to your house because
And
I can't drive
Stu,
the bridge.
right, right. And Stu, I'm. I don't know if you were born on Long Island, but I was born on Long Island.
Plainview. No, I was born in Manhattan,
You were born in Manhattan. Okay, I was
but
born in.
my parents. I lived in Queens for a while. My parents, we moved out to Plainview in '65,
Very
and
cool. I was
I
born
left. I left
in
to go to college in '76 to Buffalo, and then '80 I went to LA, lived there a couple of years, and then back to New York, and then again Florida in '89. So
Right.
very cool. I was born in Rockville Center,
okay,
Nassau County, Long Island. So I have a little bit of each of you in my backstory.
Gotcha.
cool.
Um,
So what do you like best about the channels? Game reviews.
I would say, well, you guys, in general, you guys just put out excellent content. You're both like very, I think you're both very well read, very smart hockey guys. In general,
Appreciate that. Appreciate
um,
that.
but it's great that it's Panther focused. Because I
Right.
can go
Right.
on. There's another guy that I follow that I know you guys know is the hockey guy.
Yeah.
And he's sort of the guy that I go to for like more like granular detail
Right.
stuff about other teams in the league because I
Yeah.
want to be a better informed fan.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
go watch
You know?
his video today. He basically rips apart San Jose, starting
Yeah.
on 0
Mhm.
and 10.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
so he's like one of the guys that I follow, but I love this because you guys are very smart, but everything's Panther focused,
Gotcha.
and there's just nothing else online like it. Like there really isn't. So
Right.
Thank
No,
you.
we appreciate that
We appreciate
genuinely,
it.
and
We have a
and
lot of fun together.
yeah,
You guys don't see some of the stuff that happens when the cameras aren't on. We
yeah,
crack each other up, and we're
yeah,
I'm sure.
Laurel and Hardy. We're gonna come and other come in do those. But we listen. Eric and I do know our shit, and I'm bragging. It's fact, and we usually on the same wavelength.
right.
Sometimes we have a different opinion about a certain player or this and that, and it's good to have that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
back and forth. But we live and breathe Panther hockey,
Yeah.
and that's why
Yeah.
I always say, Flying Fluffy Hockey, the #1 Panther fan podcast in the world.
Yeah.
There could be many imitators, but there's only one.
Well, that's what the puppets are for, because nobody's gonna copy that.
No,
Where else are you going to get? Where else are you going to get to see Randy Moller and Billy Lindsay?
yeah,
And the other guests that we bring
I
on.
love that you guys have been able to get Randy and Bill and who else has Ed Jovanovski been on?
No, we
Yeah.
haven't. We haven't got Jovo on.
No,
quite
the
yet.
chances of getting Jovo on here. I knew Jovo when he was a rookie. I saw him at one of the playoff games last year, and I try to, reminisce, and he doesn't know. But Randy and Billy, I've been friends with those guys for 30 years.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
At,
awesome.
at
Literally.
at some point in the hopefully distant future, when the dogs have not been around, there's a decent chance, even if I don't move back down there, I'll be able to take 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time and come down and set up and do shows and do the channel from down
Mhm.
there for a few weeks at a time, because that would allow me to work down there a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to move there or not, because life and money and all of that. But yeah, I mean, no, I really appreciate that. And with the fan base, it's like I said, we may not be the biggest, but I always said that we don't even have diehard fans. We have invincible fans, because they won't die. There's not even die hard. You can't kill us.
Yeah.
So,
Listen, I was thinking when I knew I was going to be able to make this. And by the way, this is the first time that I've been on the fans have their say stream. Not because I didn't want to before, but it just the schedules just never worked out for me. But I've been thinking about what it was that I wanted to present to you guys to get your take on. And I've narrowed it down to two things. One is sort of a general comment, not Panther focused, but more about NHL broadcasting
okay.
that I'm curious to get you guys' take on. And then another question is the more formal, direct question is a Panther legacy kind of question.
Gotcha.
Is that all right for me to proceed like that?
Go for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it.
So to get right to the point with the first thing, man, I've been so underwhelmed with ESPN's coverage of hockey since they took over the rights. I mean, and I want to be clear about something. It's not the personnel. I think folks like Messier and Subban and John Butchercross, Emily Kaplan, I think they're fine. They do their jobs well. But the amount of hockey that is on TV, on national TV, is I'm just it just seems wildly inconsistent. It's like a random game every week. There's no hype
Right.
for it. There's no pregame on TV. When NBC had it, man, like they made hockey the world, like it is the place you go to on TV for hockey was NBC Sports.
Right.
for that whole time, and it seems like ESPN um, got these rights, like it fell into their laps, and they didn't really have an actual plan for how they were going to execute what they've been doing so far in a way that would I think rise to the standard that NBC Sports set previously.
Right.
I'm curious as to is if you guys have thought about that since ESPN took over, if that's valid, if you think I'm full of shit, what I'll throw that to you guys.
Yeah, let's Stu. I'll have a little bit to say, but I'm sure Stu watches
All
way
right.
more
Well,
than I do. So
first things first, I agree with you. I don't really watch a lot of games on ESPN. I don't know why, but I mean, I was addicted to watching NHL on NBC. It was that old, not NBC, but the NBC hockey channel or whatever they had. You could catch a game, pretty much a game a night. And if there was a game that wasn't on that night, it was on the NHL Network. I watch a lot of NHL Network. Love NHL Network. In fact, Billy Lindsay was on last night, and I love when he's on, and because he's the man. When they ask about the Panthers, obviously they go to Billy. But yeah, I'm not, and I'm not pleased with like Subban. Get that guy off.
Okay, like
okay.
I don't.
And as far as the play-by-play in color, second class. See, we're really lucky. We have the best hockey duo on for any team. Sometimes Goldie gets excited. Obviously they're pro Panthers, so sometimes they're a little flighted. We kind of take that into consideration because it is the Panther channel. But I mean, they got Katie Engelson.
Yeah.
Who else has Katie Engelson?
Yeah. So
I didn't think it's just one other thing I wanted to add. I didn't think I was ever going to say this, but I miss Doc. Doc was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I sometimes he'd get annoying, but man, he really was like those NBC years, like that was like what you depended on him in the big games and to make those games just come alive.
Absolutely.
And I miss him,
hold on, Kyle. For me, what gets me about the coverage in general, realistically, and this ties into football as well, but it's still related, is the moving away from it being on TV and satellite to more streaming, as we saw. Most hockey people probably don't realize, but the Sunday NFL Ticket went to YouTube TV, and they had some massive technical issues this past weekend, and that was something that's something that concerns me overall, because I mean, like they're having an exclusive. They're going to have one playoff game that is going to be streamed exclusively on one platform. So you actually have to get a the trial subscription and everything. So that to me overall, in terms of when you talk about the announcers and the quality, to me, on one hand, more is better. More outlets is better because you get competition to, like, remember when we first got Bally's, and we were like, for a month, we were like, that's not where the scoreboard goes. Yeah. Remember that?
And and then for a month, I told myself I will never get used to this music. Never. I will never, because Fox was like that little Fox jingle was like, it was everywhere. It was like what you heard.
Right.
And then
right.
Bally's then comes in with their jingle, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get used to this. And I got used to it eventually.
Yeah. It all happens. Stu, go ahead and talk with him for a second, because Kyle's trying to get my attention desperately.
Well, Fox, in my opinion, was definitely a better production. I never saw as many technical problems with Fox as we're seeing with Bally's. I just want to jump in here, and I'm looking at the chat. JC fix the power play. Yeah, we talked about that in the video earlier this morning. I at this point in time, I think maybe give Forsling a shot at QB in the power play, but we miss Montour. Let's just face it.
Yeah, yeah. I got an addition to that. This is something I got to on the podcast today. You're gonna call me crazy, Stu, maybe, but I was in the zone of just thinking about what can we do that's different, right? And I'm thinking Chucky's really not getting aggressive in front of the net. Nobody is getting aggressive in front of the net and really making a ruckus. I mean, what about like just putting Mikula or Lawrence on the power play in front of the goalie? I mean, can you imagine the size of that man just screening the goalie? I'm just thinking outside of the box to get something to change.
Yeah, well, that is one thing that I talked about. Firing pucks to the net, but obviously, and I said about instead of trying to feed Reinhart for the shot, let Reinhart just be there to, be like Joe Pavelski. He's got the same mentality
Right.
as far as he's great. We know he's great at tipping pucks,
Right.
but when you have nobody in front, it's usually, goalie either makes the save or maybe there's a rebound and the defensive covers it up. Yeah, they got to change something.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of having Kachuk behind the net. And then basically, what is he doing? All he's doing is feeding Barkov.
Right.
So maybe move him out from behind the net and have him be, in front, aggressively in front,
right.
stirring up trouble.
Maybe. So, Greg, we're going to get ready to let you go. Got all the guests getting ready to come on, but any last words for you?
Well, I'll just throw really quickly throw out
Sure.
the other thing that I wanted to say. So,
Sure thing.
I know what the technical, like the the sort of technical answer to this should be. This may sound very naive, but if and when we win a cup, is it appropriate to acknowledge Panthers that are not on the current team?
In what way? What do you think?
Because like the way I see it is like this point that we're at right now,
right,
has been a 10, 15 year project.
Right.
It really, since we drafted Ekblad and Barkov and Huberdeau, like it's been that like this is that same project. I feel.
What I would say, my opinion to that is, I think there's a few things. Number one, I don't think talent was as bad as even I've accused him of being. Stu and I talked about that a little bit earlier today. I mean, don't get me wrong, he missed, but I think the culture change at all around the same time with the new owners and getting Luongo back and then signing Yager. I think that pivot that they made, and then the second part to that, especially with the owners, was having the cojones to stop giving out the free and the cheap seats to force people to pay for the tickets, and then people became more emotionally invested. So you're not wrong in what you're saying. I just don't know specifically I think it was more about especially the owners really coming in and because I mean you can look at like a Huberdeau. There's really not a long list of guys that passed Huberdeau that really were big contributors, I would think.
Trocheck and
No.
I would even argue Frank Vetrano.
No. The only guy on that list is Roberto Luongo. Sorry. And if you want to acknowledge, then you go back and acknowledge the 96 guys. Van Beesbrook, Mellenby.
Well, they're baked in.
Bill
Like
Lindsay.
I'm not talking that far. Like that.
Right.
Obviously, but I'm saying like of the pieces that have been part of this iteration of the Panthers, which by my count goes back to the year starts like shortly the year after the 11-12 year that we won. We made the playoffs by backing into it, but that game 7 that we lost at home, double overtime, that was the end of a previous iteration.
Right.
And then through various steps,
Yep.
this current iteration began very, very, very humbly, but it
Right.
has evolved into what it is currently.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think maybe that's a bad interpretation of history on my part, but I feel like there was something. It died in that game 7,
Right.
and then something else started.
Right. Yeah.
Perhaps not immediately, but shortly thereafter, something else started.
Well,
Are you
That
are
in
you are
some
you talking
small
about
way-
that New Jersey series?
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me just give you a little analogy. So when the Islanders got beat by Toronto in the quarters. The next year they got beat by the Rangers. And then the year that they won, they went out and traded 2 popular players, Billy Harris and Dave Lewis. And they got a guy by the name of Butch Goring. It was like the final piece to the puzzle. Believe me, when they were lifting the cup, they weren't giving shout outs to Bill Harris and Dave Lewis. That's just the business, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, look, let's put
we
it
thank
this
them
way.
for their contribution.
Right.
But I mean, without having Huberto having a good year last year and trading him for a guy that, in my opinion, is the straw that stirs the drink,
Yeah. Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so thank you, Johnny Boy. You got your
Yeah.
11.5 million. Enjoy the cold winters. But it's basically that's
Huberto.
the business side of hockey.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sentimental out the window.
Right.
But that being said, Luongo is still an intricate part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Hornquist is an integral
Yeah.
part of the team.
There's a name. Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
oh
Let's
my
hope we
God.
have that problem.
Sean
Let's hope.
Thornton,
Yeah, Sean Thornton. Thornton.
he's
Yeah.
a part of the team. Those
Yeah.
are the guys that you acknowledge.
Yeah.
Former players.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe Yager, since he never went anywhere else.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right, Greg. Thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. All right, brother. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Take care, guys.
Yep. All right,
Be well.
Bye. Thanks.
So
brother.
Eric, JC, Randy's underrated. We know that already. But JC's
I wanna
talking
give it
about
to the-
what I just said. Instead of Chucky behind the net, put him in front of Lorenz, or like how Patty Hornquist
Yeah.
did. So yeah, good. We're on the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
page there, JC.
That's the two things that are missing. We're not getting, Montour's not shooting because Montour's not there. And I mean, we don't know. Maybe they're not shooting because nobody's in front of the net for deflections. I mean,
Yeah.
but 6 of one, half dozen of another. You know what I mean?
Power play, personally, I think you got to have a guy or two in front, taking the eyes away from the goalie.
Right. Yeah, I like the idea.
A lot more
People out there.
opportunities.
No goalie's going to be able to see a damn thing past him. So, all right. So Paul's here and he's ready to rock and roll. Ghost, I see you. You'll be next after Paul. And let me see. I'm going to kick him. All right. And hey, brother Paul, how you doing, buddy?
Brother Paul.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you guys, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, it had. Well, it was a long summer and a short summer.
That's true, man. That's true. It seems like since the playoffs, man, it's been nonstop, busy down here. So
yeah, no, that's good though. That's good. Yeah. So
yeah, I can't complain, man.
No. So what do you got?
There's always plenty of chickens to deal with down here in the Keys. Chickens and roosters.
Chickens and
What?
I love it.
Man. So how you guys doing, man? Everything good?
Yeah, let's see. What do we got? Yeah, I don't want to say this too loud because it's a surprise, but the book is written.
Ooh.
Yep,
Nice. Good job,
I'm on the last few chapters of editing, and then it's going to go to the formatter next week. And then once I get it back, we'll submit it to Amazon. So, and I'm doing a
That's
hardcover.
awesome.
Yeah, so I'm
man.
excited. I did a big bunch of it during the summer, and then I took like a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks when Matthias was around, and then but it worked out because things have happened now in the beginning of the season to kind of pull everything together for the end of the book. So
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
looking forward to that. So
Nice.
that's what I've been
Making some
doing.
progress.
Yeah,
man. Stu actually sent me a text this morning. He's like, "Hey, jump on the podcast tonight." I'm like, "Oh, great!" I mean, that's how much of a disconnect I've had from you guys
Yeah,
so far
seriously,
in the
we
early
missed
part
you,
of the
bro.
season. Well, man, I've become like almost the only beekeeper that does beehive removals in the lower keys. So I've got
wow,
bees coming out of every orifice in my body.
jeez,
It's not
wow,
that bad because I get some nice honey out of it, from
That
time to
yeah.
honey
time.
was
But
probably the best
oh
honey
yeah.
I've ever had in my life.
So,
Besides
but yeah, but
that Sheila girl in
Here we
Buffalo.
go.
oh yeah, we've all had our sweet treats, right,
That's a
honey?
different podcast.
Yeah. No, but yeah, dude, I'm just stoked. It's great to have hockey back. The Panthers always, they're always teasing us, with what could be. And that first period, man, when we had Bennett back, oh man, the
Oh, I
team
know,
looked like
right?
they were on fire, dude.
I know.
Ah, yep,
I
yep.
know. That
But it's kind of hard to gauge where we're at. I mean, our power play is still horrible, man. It just, dude, I don't know what we could do to solve the power play. Um,
I mean,
I
I've gone back, on the podcast a lot with it, and I mean, if you meet a woman that was married 5 times, what's the common denominator? And the common denominator in all of these years and coaches and problems with the power play is 16.
yep,
And
yeah,
I mean, that's
I'm gonna
literally
have to
the
agree
only
with you,
common
man.
denominator. That's it. There's nothing
That's
else.
it. Yeah, and
So
I agree with you too. With as far as Larson's concerned, man. I mean, he should be taking some shots. He tries to drive the puck to the net, but it doesn't seem like
right.
he's taking a dedicated shot.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So
I
it's
have a
just it's a
feeling
conundrum, man.
I have a feeling some of these guys are like, especially with like Lundell, and Randy has kind of talked with us a little bit about this. They're really, really focusing on their defensive responsibilities first, and then
Sure.
figuring a goal is going to come at some point.
Right.
So,
Yep.
it's
not the brand of hockey we've been used to for the past several years, where it's run and gun, run and gun.
Right.
I mean, Bobrovsky's actually doing pretty good. I mean, we're giving up about 3 goals a game.
Oh, Tim Black has a actually pretty good idea, because I said this in the recap last night. He says, "Put our PP is stinky on a shirt."
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
That's
but
a
I
good
mean,
one.
I was listening to you guys earlier. I mean, if you do the math, our goals against are like 2.9 a game, something like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we got to get
Yeah.
a little under that. But I mean, so far so good. I mean, we shot ourselves in the foot in Boston.
Yeah.
We could have definitely won that game, but we let Boston get back into it, and it is what it is. But I was very impressed by their effort last night, against the Red Wings. I mean, the Red Wings are a pretty good team this year.
And
Yep.
I'll say this. I mean, it's early. Anything can happen. We've got all these injuries and everything, and anything can happen. But I'm looking at the East, and with the exception of Boston, and I mean, we know we can beat Boston. We don't know if we would beat Boston, but we know we can. But none of the other teams scare me at all in terms of meeting them up in the playoffs. The scary teams are in the West in terms of matchups for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I was pissed when we lost to the Canucks. I'm like, how can we lose to the Canucks? But they're on fire, man. That's a really good team.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can we lose to the Canucks? Very simple.
Yep.
We didn't come to play. We played like we played last night against Vancouver. We beat them. Sorry.
No doubt.
60-minute
I mean,
game.
and that's the case. We always seem to beat ourselves, whether it's this or that. And honestly, man, that goal that Lorentz scored against Reimer, dude, that's happened to us. I don't know how many times it
Uh-huh.
happened to us in Boston.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Well,
exactly.
You know, we'll
Listen,
take it.
I don't know what the stat is for our power play, but let's just say over the course of the last
I'll look it up.
3 years,
Keep talking.
our power play has been not too good. So
Nah,
that says to me, and I'm talking about the current number one unit, and I talked about it earlier, having Kachuk behind the net. To me, I'd rather see him mucking it up in front. So at
Right.
this point in time, I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, I'd love to get in front of Maurice and say, hey, maybe it's time you kind of change the system a little bit and have the guys at the point just firing away pretty much every time they have a chance to take a shot. I mean, that's what Boston does.
Yeah.
That's what Edmonton does.
I agree with you guys as far as getting a big body in front of the net, but you need to have somebody that's willing to take that risk, of getting hit by a puck or something like that. So it takes a couple of big cojones to stand in front of the net and take the abuse and all that.
That's why Hornquist was so good.
So in terms of the
I like
power,
Mikola.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Eric.
Go ahead.
In terms of the power play rankings, percentage wise, we are at 12.1%. The only teams worse than us are Dallas at 12, Philadelphia 11.4, the Capitals at 10.7, Buffalo at 10, Chicago at 9, and then St. Louis is at 4%.
Oh
but
my God.
The flip side to that is that the New Jersey Devils are at 44.7%.
There you go.
Holy crap.
Listen, if you're in the 25% range, 26, 27 is really good.
Yeah, that's about where most teams are.
It's tough to sustain like a 30% power play. But let's just say around 25, that's 1 out of 4 chances. We're not getting that. Just imagine what a difference it would make if we got, like last night, we got 5 power plays.
Yeah.
And we scored at least 1 goal, 2 goals. We win that Boston game on that 5-minute major where we could score as many goals and, still be up a man. Goose egg.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And it looked really bad. It wasn't even we had our chances. They looked, they looked discombobulated.
Yeah,
and
I call our power play the rinse and repeat, man. Rinse and repeat.
They need to totally revamp that. Yeah. They're thinking about, how we're setting things up because it ain't working because Barkov's not shooting and Larson's not shooting. And it keeps going back and forth between the two of them. Right. Or down to Kachuk, back to Barkov, back to Larson, back. It's just
I mean, it's the power play for me when I'm on the streams. It's the easiest point of the game to call because it's just like Barkov to Larson, back to Rodriguez, back to. I mean, it's so slow.
Yep.
The rest of the action is hard for me to call, but the power play, we got plenty of time.
So just think if we could go from 11. What are we? You said 12%.
Yeah, like 12%.
So we could double that.
Yeah, we'd be pretty good.
Yeah, if we could.
Yeah.
If we could. And I'm sure if you ask
the penalty kill's been pretty decent, though. The PK's been pretty good.
Oh,
the PK's been pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Bob's been pretty good.
Bob has been pretty good, man. Him and Reinhardt. Now, the thing with Reinhardt, man, is the way he's playing, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to afford him.
We're going to know the answer to that question when the news comes up about Forsling and Montour's contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean,
but what do you guys think? I mean, honestly, of Mikola. I mean, he's supposed to be like, Gudas's replacement, but he's like an offensive juggernaut. It seems like it's like put him at center, man.
Well, that's kind of why I had the idea of him in front of the net. You know what I mean? And on the power play.
Yep.
No, Zito, Stu and I talked about this morning. The 2 guys with Rodriguez and Mikola, those are the guys that Zito signed for more than 1 year.
Yep.
So, I mean,
he's no Gudas, Paul. He's a different player than Gudas. He's not an intimidating menace out there. He's a lot more mobile, and he's got a shot, but he's making the hits when he needs to. I'm really impressed by him.
Daniel Colombo says Daniel Colombo says pair Ekblad with Balinskis on the checkers.
Daniel knows
Yeah.
Daniel knows what I'm thinking.
There you go. I like that one, man. But I think that's what we're missing, man. We're missing that physical presence that we had, with Bennett and Gudas, Lomberg to a certain extent, but when we got some of these bigger bodied guys, I thought we were going to be a little bit more physical, man. But like you said, Joz, we don't have to be physical, but there are
Right.
going to be times where we need to be physical, and it's almost like we dropped off from there. It's like, oh, okay.
I think it's purposeful. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
The wear and tear on the bodies.
I think.
Oh yeah, I agree there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to throw a hit when you got to throw a hit, but
Right.
it's again, I mean, we embody our captain, and our captain's like just very like laid back, nice guy. Here,
No, I disagree with you, Paul. Last year it started for him.
Yeah.
He started getting aggressive, and he started making some crunching hits. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
How many times you see Barkov how many times you see Barkov in a scrum grab somebody like he's ready to go? So we need Bennett back badly.
No, we do, man. I mean, I actually, like you guys have said many times, man, Bennett is the spark plug of the team. He's the heart man of the team. Without him, we're just kind of like floundering out there. And I also agree. Tkachuk isn't 100%. If he's 100% healed, he's dealing with some PTSD, man. He doesn't want to get hit.
Yeah.
If you've been in a serious, if you've got seriously injured, there's going to be a part of you that's always going to hesitate, man. And it seems like something's up with the guy. He seemed like he came back to his normal self when Bennett was out there.
And that was
other than that,
that was what my thought was. I had talked about that before it, in terms of, we'll know if the real Tkachuk doesn't show up when Bennett comes back, then I'll be a little bit more concerned. I'll give him credit. He's definitely doing different things. I mean, like last night, he came in and took a shot from the high slot. Now, he's probably not going to beat the goalie from there because that's not his game. But I'm noticing him more out in between the circles and the blue line than I am, actually getting behind the net and all of that. But I think part of that also is he's having to play a different game because, like Stu and I said this morning, Bennett will do the dirty work and feed Tkachuk. And now it's kind of like Tkachuk might actually feed Lundell because he did feed him a couple of times yesterday. And, I know it was an empty net, but we got it. But I don't know, man. I'm not worried. I got a weird good feeling about the fact of, missing all these guys, and we're 5-1-1 in the last 7.
Yeah. No, we're still doing good, man.
Yeah.
And I attribute that to Maurice, man. He's done a really good job coaching this team, I think. There's no denying it. The guys seem to bought into his system, and the new guys, they're coming in and learning the system, and they're also doing pretty good. So it's kind of a toss-up, man. It's weird, because we don't have the same team that we did last year, so we're still kind of getting to know everybody.
Let me just interject. So again, I was watching Billy Lindsay on NHL Network. He said when we get back, Ekblad, Montour, and Bennett, we're a better team than we were last year.
I agree, and because when you think about it now, the depth that we're going to have is
true.
is crazy,
Yep.
The only questions are really going to be, and this, of course, is a little ways off. There's not just the salary cap issue. There's making sure that we can fit everybody on the roster now this year when everybody comes back. I think we're good, but that's also part of we're good because Spencer Knight's in the AHL. That extra $1.5 million is when everybody's whole. That extra money we're getting like 1.3. That's allowing us to be able to have the extra defenseman and the extra forward up.
Right.
And somebody had asked about Mike Riley, and I wanted to not skip over that. Maurice was actually asked about that specifically, and basically his answer was that he just wanted to give the defensive pairs that we have now time to gel, and that he had actually spoken to Riley about that after the second game, that, hey, look, he wants to give these guys that we have out there on the ice now, enough time to gel and not, yank them after a few games. And of course now, I mean, we're giving up 2 goals a game. I mean, we went to Boston and Detroit and gave up 2 goals in regulation.
That's true.
So
Yep.
I don't know what to do with myself. There's nothing to complain about.
Well, like you said earlier, man, we're watching some boring, ugly hockey, but as long as we're winning, man, I mean, what are we going to complain about? Yeah. It's
Right. Yeah.
well, yep.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, we got to just take a wait and see approach. I mean, we're not at full strength yet.
Right.
We're beating good teams. I mean, we beat the Maple Leafs. I mean, they got a winning record. We beat, Detroit. So it's not like, the argument with the Dolphins. Well, the Dolphins haven't beat anybody with a winning record. The Panthers are
Right.
actually, beating, playoff teams that were in the playoffs last year,
Right.
teams that we beat already.
Yeah. So it's so far so
it's-
good. After
I'm
those
just happy to have hockey back, man.
Yeah, no joke there. So, all right,
Now,
brother Paul.
hey, tomorrow, man, we gotta take care of the Hawks. Don't give Bernard any any chance to like shine or get some headlines in an ESPN or the NHL Network, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we're gonna flatten the kid, but it'd be nice to somebody catch him with his head down. Welcome to the NHL, buddy.
Just keep him from scoring, Paul.
Yeah.
No, I know. I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need
All right,
anybody
guys.
take any revenge runs at any of our guys right now.
No, just like bump into him a little bit.
Whoopsies.
Nah, but
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun game. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. And hey, let's keep on rolling.
Yep. All right, Paul. Thanks for coming
All right,
on.
guys.
Appreciate
Good
it.
seeing you,
Thank
bro.
you very much
Yep.
for having me, man.
All right,
All right,
bud,
see
we'll
you guys.
Okay, later. Okay. All right, he's gone. All right.
So
So
let's go to the chat here. What was
Yeah.
the last thing I see is Jason Todd wrote something. Am I behind?
no, that's it. He says if everybody needs to take a pay cut if they want to win the cup. Yeah, I mean everybody's going to take a pay cut if they all want to stay. It is look, but we'll see. We'll see what Zito pulls out.
If anybody can do it, it's him.
I'm sure he's already spoken. You would assume he's already spoken to Reinhardt about what they're expecting, and then if he works it out, we'll know because if he, if we hear Forsling or Montour get $7 million, then somebody's going. Somebody's going.
Yep.
Like
I said to you, the last video before the one we did this morning,
Yeah.
I'd like to see them sign at the same time for the same amount of money, like Taze and Kane and Suter and Parisi.
Yeah, you just
Those
don't
two
want
guys are up at the same time. They're both valuable players, but $7 million is going to be
Well,
that's going to be a tight squeeze.
I mean, I don't think that's it's who knows, man. I mean, look, we've seen it, right? I mean, it depends on what these guys want. Both of them can walk into the room and say, I'm worth more than Uyghur. And Uyghur got 6.25.
Yep.
So
that's why I told you, anywhere between 5.5 and 6.5.
yeah, if he can squeeze them for 5.5, and we can squeeze Lundell for 2, which I don't know, but there might be enough money to pay Sam Reinhart what he's making. I mean, like I said, I did the math, and the only way you can even keep Reinhart even with what he's making is if Forsling and Montour get 4.25,
It
and
ain't
Lundell
happening.
got 3. No, I'm just saying math-wise. That's
Yeah, I
the
know.
only way it
Well,
would
got to be
happen.
realistic, Leah. Both of those guys are going to want $7 million. That's their starting
Jeez.
number. But the key to this whole thing is getting them signed quickly, because
Right.
as the season goes on, I know other teams can't tamper, but there's going to be a lot of talk about how much those guys are worth, and there's other
Right.
teams that are willing to pay.
Oh yeah, no, especially for Forsling because he's only 27. I mean, somebody
Yeah.
will gladly give him 8
Yeah,
years,
to me,
whatever.
and you guys can disagree with me. To me, the more important guy to sign is Forsling. Sorry, Montour's great and all that, but Forsling is our rock back there
I
defensively.
think they're both equally important.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, no, because they do different things. You know what I mean? We need both. And I tell you why both. I'll tell you one thing here. This is a little bit of a, and then we'll get to your Ghost. I think Montour is just as important as Forsling because if you lose Montour, then you're going to have Ekblad trying to make up for it offensively, and we know how that's going to go. So,
Okay, but then if you lose Forsling, you lose your best defensive defenseman.
I'm
telling you, they got to sign them both again.
Right.
Sign them both at the same time. Let it have a big ceremony with both of them at the press conference. Sign it just like they did with Suter and Parisi.
Yeah.
And Tays and Kane, two anchors of the team. It's just a question of how much will they settle for. Right. I mean, we know it's going to be an 8-year deal.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that with Montour. He's 30.
He's going to want an 8-year deal, bud.
Man, I don't know.
He's going to want job security.
I think maybe 5 or 6.
So. It ain't happening.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, these guys. It's their future. It's their family.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Look at Gudis.
Right.
Somebody offered him $4 million a year for 3 years. That's $12 million, man.
Right.
He was out the door in a flash.
Right. No, I get it.
Both of those guys could probably get more money from another team.
Yeah, and hopefully that doesn't happen. All right, no. Ghost, you ready? All right, here we go. Hey, bud, how you doing?
What's going on? How are y'all doing?
Man, long
Got
time.
his professional podcast, Mike.
Yeah. Well,
Jaws, we're just being the same person here, all right?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, your mic is bigger than my mic.
Yeah, I got the arm and everything. So, anyways, let's get straight to it.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
I think a lot of people have noticed this, not just me, but we're missing that locker room presence. It feels like every time we start a game, we don't know how to like conserve our energy, keep it going, no matter whether we're up or we're down. And one of our biggest locker room pieces in the last few years has been Radko Gudas. And I believe 2 years ago, Joe Thornton was that veteran presence in the locker room, so he knew how to run things.
Right.
I think that there's definitely people on the roster that could play that same role. We just need to find out who will play that role. Some ideas could be like Ryan Lomberg, Sam Reinhart could also bring some energy. I'm looking at Forsling as well on the defensive side. Mahura too, since he played a lot with Gudas on that third defensive pairing. You got a lot of good guys on this team that could bring that energy that we're missing. And I think once we find that, we'll be looking like the same team every period. Same energy.
What Jason is saying in the chat is kind of true. You're right, but what he's saying is that guy is Bennett.
Yep,
he's just not on the ice. I mean, I don't remember seeing the team change personalities the way this team does when he's on and off the ice. It is so. Yeah, I believe that you're correct, and also the whole veteran thing. You're not wrong there either. we've always, until this year, we've always had that one scraggly old veteran somewhere on the roster or in the
Patrick
locker room.
Hornquist, Joe
Right.
Thornton, like
Stahl last
Well,
year, right?
Let me just interject. Hornquist is always with the team.
Yeah.
He's like on the team, but he's not on the team, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Don't think that he's not in the room jazzing these guys up.
I mean, also didn't Hornquist like warm up Bob almost like every like practice as well last year when he was hurt?
Yeah, I think
He's working Ekblad and Montour out every day. That's who's working those guys out. It's Hornquist in the weight room and on the ice. I mean, there was I don't know if it was Randy, somebody, I don't even know if it was on the broadcast. Somebody was interviewing somebody and they were talking about Hornquist's presence around the team, that he's officially retired, but he's in a different role with the team, and he's involved. So, but I do agree with you. We lost Eric Stahl, Mark Stahl, Gudis, Thornton. So you're right. But
and don't leave out Colin White, bro. I mean,
I forgot. I forgot.
Hey, come on.
But Bennett is the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a funny one, Eric. Jacob H. I'm just here for when Stu calls Gudis the Panther killer when he plays with him. That's gonna be weird. You know, Barkov misses him so bad. Post-game thing with the high five.
Yeah. They need to get a new celebration, though, man. They need to get a
Lomberg
new
needs to step up.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Lomberg.
Yeah, well, he's definitely a guy that could do that. I mean, he's not a grizzled old veteran, but he's got the energy, personality. I agree with you there.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of the times when I'm looking at Lomberg, he's flying out there, and we always have him on that fourth line. And I get Maurice wants to have those perfectly rounded, like every line is as important as the other. But Lomberg feels like that player that is like, you really want him to be on those higher lines, but it's like you don't want to push it too much.
Right.
And we've seen that happen, like especially I believe it was 2020 against the Lightning. Or 2021 against the Lightning, where Lomberg had that breakaway. He scored the overtime goal. It was obvious that Lomberg was an amazing player. It's just he wasn't consistent.
Right.
And he still isn't, but I have heard a lot in the media of people saying that Lomberg gets paid way too much as a role player, which is not true.
Yeah, he's only making like $800,000.
He only makes like little to nothing, almost like league minimum.
Yeah.
And he's still like that guy in our team that's just rounding out everything. Like he's basically the leader of that fourth line.
Right.
I would not be opposed to switching Lomberg and Cousins. Put Lomberg on the third line.
I mean, yeah, that could work.
Well, they did it last night because we had to, right? The third line was Stenlund, Lomberg, and Cousins. Lomberg and Cousins go well together. His energy is just so infectious. It's just, and he gets so many chances, and sometimes he finishes, and sometimes he doesn't. But one thing that you can definitely count on is that when he gets his chance, he's going to shoot the puck.
Yeah,
you know that puck is coming.
I mean, look at a lot of our goals from last year, man. A lot of those have Lomberg in that front line where he's rushing into the zone after dumping the puck.
Yeah. No, it's a shame he can't play center, or he could take over for Bennett when he's out, But or at least bring that, that swagger, that energy to the second line.
There's gonna come a game where you're gonna see Maurice move him up.
Yeah. Well, it happened last year for a few games, wasn't it? Last year,
I think it was more like two, or was maybe last year? It's either last year or the year before that they put Lomberg up for a few games, and it was working out. But it was the Brunette year, because Brunette was constantly switching lines
Brunette, yeah.
every single game. So Lomberg was either on the fourth line or the third line. He was never higher.
Okay.
But I do remember late in that season where Lomberg was like on the second
On
line.
the second line, yeah. That's what I'm
Yep.
remembering, yeah.
And
He had gotten on like a hot streak, and we just moved him up, said what the hell, and put him up there. And then when
Yeah.
he cooled off, they moved him down.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was also because we were resting our guys for the playoffs. Like, it brings me back to what I said. Lomberg is way too inconsistent, but that doesn't change the big part he plays in this Florida Panthers team.
Right.
Agreed.
And by the way, he needs a contract too.
He does. But
So-
but if we're looking at like how Lomberg is right now, the fact he even took 850 to like league minimum, it seems like he's that type of guy that just plays to play. He's not
Yeah.
looking for the big money. He's looking to stick with the team and, maybe even get a few rings. But who knows? That maybe bite me in the ass once the offseason comes around. But yeah, it's just crazy. Another thing I wanted to bring up was our power play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Skanky
a
beat.
very strong opinion on our first power play line.
Okay.
I understand that Rodriguez is a great player. He makes those passes that no other person would think of. But looking at these games, he's being a little too risky on the power play. He's making the risky passes, which I get. Yeah, you make the risky pass, it goes well, and you get a goal. But it seems like he's doing it in the wrong moments when nobody's set up. And we were doing fine with just like Barkov, Kachuk, and Verhage on that first like line for the power play.
You mean you're
It
feeling
wasn't.
back to last
Verhagen
year?
was not. It was Barkov, Reinhardt, and Bennett.
It was Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett. Yeah.
I keep forgetting about Bennett because it's like
Right.
he's been injured for a while now, so it's like
Yeah, missing Bennett just screws up so much,
it screws up almost the entire system, I could
Right.
argue.
Right.
Another big power play piece, and a lot of people really underestimated him last year, but we as Panthers fans loved the Duke. He was a great part of that power play unit.
Well, I mean, it certainly helped back in the day, especially when it was Barkov and Huberdeau, because when they passed, he would bury, especially the President's Trophy season, right? I mean, he was just one time in it and burying that puck a lot. So I think a lot of people are playing out of place right now, and they see you throw in Montour's not there, taking shots in the blue line. You throw in that Chucky is definitely not Chucky of last year yet. Anyway,
You gotta give him time, man.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. And then you toss in Bennett being hurt. I mean, if Maurice's argument is we've got guys that we're missing and I want to give it time before I make any big changes, I can't really make a big argument against that either. I can see it both ways because we're missing a lot of elements that make that power play go. But let's be honest, even when it was going, it's still not great. It's just functional.
Still not very decisive and not enough shots. Here's the quick fix, guys. Okay? You put Forsling and Larson on the points, and you move Chucky from the behind the net in front of the net with Reinhardt causing traffic, and you just let those guys fire bombs to the net. Eventually, some are going to get through. That's my quick fix. Then when Bennett gets back, then then obviously, you can tinker around. But right now, it's like going nowhere. Got to do something drastic.
Yeah. No, Go ahead.
I'm looking at like Bennett is like we kind of rushed him into that game against Boston, which is why he got re-injured so fast.
Well, Maurice said it was actually a different injury, though.
Yeah, but he still got injured again, and I'm
Right.
like, did we rush him in? Did we kind of like not give him the time to continue practicing? But no, I look back, he was practicing a ton, just like as much as Ekblad and Montour are currently right now.
Yeah.
He was practicing. It was just an unfortunate turn of events that ended up having him leave that game.
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's all it was. It was a fluky play. But
And it was nobody's fault. I'm tired of people
no,
saying
I
it
don't
was
think they.
Lindholm's
I don't
fault.
think they rushed him back. Believe me. First of all, you got to get doctors to clear these guys, and second of all, I don't think they. If we're in the Stanley Cup playoffs, okay. I mean, look at
Right.
guys played with broken feet and torn
Yeah.
shoulders and whatnot.
I know.
But at
Right?
9 games into the season, there's no reason to rush a guy back. So I don't think they did. It's just unfortunate that he got hurt again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the rest of the good news is that everybody knock on wood, pretty much everybody else is staying pretty healthy. Goaltending looks good. Spencer Knight looks really good in the AHL. And
Oh yeah, he got that shutout actually
Yeah.
not too long ago, and I'm liking Knight. He's getting back to his form. I think everyone could agree he's not ready to come back yet, but he's getting there. He's really getting there.
I think when you wrap it all up and you take the salary cap into consideration and the future of the franchise into consideration, unless something happens, I say just leave him there the whole year at the AHL and let him just experience being the guy.
Agreed.
There's no reason without barring injury or anything like that. There's no reason to
Yeah, and
let him get a full workload under his belt. He's
Yeah,
never
and-
had that.
And Stolar's as a backup, he's not terrible. He's actually pretty good. If we keep our defense as it was, I think definitely Stolar's could be just as good as a backup as Lion was. Because a big
Right.
part of that Lion run was our defense woke up.
Yeah.
And how Stolar's won, our defense woke up. We played amazing defense. The only mistake Stolar's made was the same mistake that most goalies make. You think it's going to wrap behind you, and then no, it's right in front of you.
Yeah. Yep. So I feel good about the team. I mean, look, the Bennett situation is frustrating because this is going all the way back with different injuries to, missing the beginning of the playoffs and everything like that. So it just kind of feels like he's in this rut of just can't catch a break, At some point he's going to come back and stay healthy. I have a feeling that way. And at least now, it's unfortunate with the guys that we've, with Ekblad and Montour being out, but because it happened that way, it kind of forced Zito's hand to make some different moves. And now our depth on defense when they come back is
Immaculate.
We're going to be really, really good to go. So
Now listen, you got to remember one thing about Bennett. He's not a finesse player. The type of game he plays, he's susceptible to injury. Unfortunately, that's the give and take you have when you have a guy that hits like him and is aggressive like him.
Yeah.
And you're right. He was out. Look what happened when he came back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're a much better team when he's in. And again, the lines are affected.
Right.
Chucky needs he needs his boy.
Yeah, I mean,
Watch what Chucky does when Bennett comes back. I mean, really back, and he's able to play day in, day out.
Yeah.
You'll see Chucky's numbers start going up.
Yep. Well, they got an assist on Lundell's empty netter last night, so we're good.
Hey,
we'll take it.
A good play, Eric.
Yeah, it was. I know.
That was a great play. 2 guys all over him.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. So. All right, Ghost, you got anything else? I got MJ here ready and waiting. So if you got anything else, shoot.
Honestly, I think the season's going to be great. I don't want to hear anybody saying, "Oh my God, we suck so bad. We lost to this team. We lost to that team." We just started the season. Calm down.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. We're gonna hear that. That's okay. That's called Panther fans.
Yeah.
And honestly, we have the team to make the playoffs. We just need to execute. We need to get our good guys back. And I think honestly, it's not going to be smooth sailing, but it's going to be sailing. It'll be floating at least.
That's good. That sounds good. Yeah.
Good way to end.
Good way to end it. All right, Ghost. As always, pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
And see you next time on the stream, brother.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Eric, let's talk to the chat a little bit.
Yeah, MJ, we're going to get with you in just a couple seconds. Go ahead, Stu.
Let's see what we got here. That hit on Bennett looked dirty. I don't know. I think he just fell wrong. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I go ahead.
No.
Yeah. Oh, Jason is. Yeah, I like Stenlin too, Jason. I like that Maurice put him at 3C last night and let Luosterainen play wing. We've got depth for miles, man, especially when we're healthy. So much of the situation is a lot better than it was last year, and I'm optimistically getting excited because if we can. I mean, I don't remember how long it took us to go on a 5-1-1 run last year.
Took a long time for us to win 3 in a row.
Right,
Listen,
right.
Jason says, I'm low-key looking for Stenlin to be our chip on the shoulder guy. I hope he really opens up this year. Well, Jason, Lundberg is the guy, but I'd love to see Stenlin start snarling and get play a more mean game. That's great. I like that kid.
Yeah.
I like that kid a lot. Lorenz, too.
Yeah. As
that whole line.
Goes, yeah. No, we.
That's the big difference for us this year, as opposed to last year. Our fourth line is so much better than it was last year.
Well, I think we could see it's got more potential. I mean, look, I liked what Stahl brought, but remember, Stahl wasn't there at the beginning of the season, so we had changes. But no, I things we're good. We're in good shape. All right. Last guest of the night. So in case anybody else was thinking about coming on, I smell my dinner cooking. So the last guest of the night right here is good old MJ, Matthew J. Evans. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Jaws and Stu. Good to see you guys. It's been a while.
It has.
Hey, man. How are you?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you guys?
Where's your Panther shirt? You come on this channel, you're not wearing a Panther shirt? Shame on you.
You know what? There's a bunch of boxes I have here that I have yet to get to. I've been procrastinating on it. One of them has my Panther shirt in it. I've been busy with work and personal stuff. I just haven't had time to get it. So this is the best I could do for today. I'm sorry, guys.
Don't worry about it.
I'm just busting balls. That's all.
It's all good. It's all good. And on a side note, before I start here, Stu, how was U2 in Vegas?
Insane. Go on YouTube and just type in U2 Sphere and watch some of the clips. Mm-hmm. First of all, the Sphere is an amazing. They spent $2.3 billion building this thing. So in a normal arena show, you might have a big screen behind the stage. Well, this thing is the whole Sphere. It's got tens of thousands of LED, they call them pucks, but they're lights. And I'm telling you, the only way to, for you guys to visualize what I experienced is to go watch a few videos. The lights, the sound is amazing. The lights were incredible. The band Bono's voice was terrific. Lady Gaga came on and did 3 songs with them. It was a great show. Amazing. Amazing.
Awesome. Good.
Panthers.
Yep.
What do you got?
Yeah, what you got? Yeah, Stu.
Well, I'm going to repeat what probably everybody else is saying right now, that power play.
Oh, here we go.
The penalty kill is, I think, fine. Little work needs to be done there, but that power play, I don't know what needs to be done there. When they're in practice, I know they only have so much time for practice and they got all the other stuff going on that's, outside of practice. But the main focus needs to be that power play and how you execute and how you, can pretty much get a goal,
All right,
and
so
get
you're,
to the
you're
net.
Coach Maurice. What do you do to fix it?
Well, I think first of all, you need your best players during the power play, or the guys who have done well in power plays, at least statistically. I mean, you got to get a statistician involved involved as well. You get those guys in the ice, you practice with them, and then those guys who are not so skilled at the power play, you kind of have to tie them into the guys who are good with the power play, and they work with each other to develop that power play game.
Let's see. When I was on the podcast today and I was throwing things up against the wall.
I'm talked out about the power play. I made my
Yeah.
suggestions.
Yeah, no, I know. I get it. That's fine. I would take Barkov off and I would replace him with Rodriguez because Rodriguez just is he moves quicker. He moves the puck quicker. His actions are quicker. He seems to be able to be slippery to get away from people. And I don't and also you win some, you lose some with this, but he's now nowhere near as predictable as Barkov. And I would give it a shot.
All right, how about spitballing this one?
Yeah.
For Hagee, Rodriguez, and Reinhardt with Barkov and Forsling at the point.
With Barkov and Forsling at the point.
Well, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Maurice is going to take Barkov off the first power play. I'm sorry, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I know.
But I'd like to see, again, I've been saying it for years. I'd like to see what Forsling can do running the power play.
Well, he's
Larson ain't getting it done. Larson is not getting it done. Yeah. He's just passing the puck.
Right.
I want to ask you guys, do you think if the power play doesn't improve during the season, do you think that the Panthers should make a trade for a power play guy like at midseason or before the trade deadline? I don't know when that date is.
No, because when Montour comes back, it's going to, and Bennett comes back, it's going to be a completely different animal.
Okay.
Yeah. It is. And that's part of the reason why Maurice probably not wanting to make any changes. He probably doesn't want to stir the pot right now and take the chance on giving up shorties because we're winning games by scoring 1 and 2 goals. So if we start giving up shorthanded goals, it could end up backfiring on us. I think, but to your point, you get Ekblad Montour back by the end of November. At some point in, January, I think you give it December to get everybody to start gelling again together. And somewhere in January, we need to see that percentage, like Stu was talking about, that percentage needs to get, back up there closer to 20% instead of 12.
25.
I don't want to get greedy.
No, that's where it needs to be, Eric. Listen, you can't win without a good power play.
Right.
No, it's a very, very integral part of the game.
Right.
Look at Vegas. Look at the teams. All right, maybe not. I think Boston scored a bunch of power plays, but Vegas did pretty well on their power play, didn't they?
Yeah.
Against us.
Yeah.
In the finals.
Yeah.
Vegas pretty much dominated. I mean, they pretty much well, there was one game, I think it was the one that the Panthers won where Vegas didn't dominate, but the other games they just completely manhandled the Panthers, which I was kind of surprised about because the Panthers had done so well in the previous rounds. Well, you guys know this already, so
yeah.
The Panthers ran out of gas when they got to the finals.
Yep.
That's the explanation for that. Pure and simple. They weren't the same team as they were against at the end of the Boston series or the Toronto series. They just were spent.
Yep.
Yeah, and against Carolina too. And speaking of which, I kind of wanted to touch on that here. Jaws, you mentioned gelling. I feel like I think it's still pretty early in the season. The guys are still kind of getting their form or getting their footing on the beginning of the season right now. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time I also think, I don't know if you guys had read about this or researched this. I think the Panthers right now are suffering this thing called the Stanley Cup Finals hangover effect. I've been doing some research kind of on this. I guess the teams that lose in the Stanley Cup Finals the year before, they will start off kind of slow, where they have all these weaknesses in their game, and they sometimes they may make the playoffs, but they won't go far, or they will miss the playoffs altogether, or they will just completely tank. Again, I don't know if you guys have read about this or researched this, or I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
Well, I tell you, unfortunately, what my thought is, now you triggered me, because when the Panthers made the Stanley Cup Finals and lost in '96, they then came back the following year and had the best record in the NHL until those morons traded Stu Barnes and Jason Woolley for Chris Wells. So, yeah, we didn't have a hangover.
Well, I'll say
we
maybe
gave
before we went on this run, we started off the season maybe with a little bit of hangover. I don't even want to think that, because that just, it's all psychological. It's a new season, but let's just say we're playing a lot better than we did the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
Now we are. Yeah. First 3 or 4 games were a struggle, but now it's like we're starting to kind of, I don't know about coming together, but sort of figuring out what it is they need to do.
Settling down.
Yeah.
Settling down. That's a good way of putting it. Sure.
And we haven't talked enough about the real reason for it all, which is Bubba. I mean,
Bob, I was going to get to Bob on that. Yeah. Now that thanks, Jaws, for bringing that up. Bob, well, first of all, okay, Bob's performance in the playoffs. Wow. That was one of the greatest netminder performances I've ever seen in Stanley Cup playoff history. What he did was just unbelievable. Like he should have won the maybe the Conn Smythe, but what's the one? I can't remember. Not the Vezina. There's an award they give out for like playoff goalies, but it's not Conn Smythe. I don't know. I can't think of it. But
the Conn Smythe, the most valuable player in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think there's
right. Well, there's one they give to goalies. I can't remember. It's not coming to me. But anyways, with Bob, another thing is the shutout he had against the Red Wings was good for him. He did was it the Red Wings?
Last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm losing track of my games here. So he was, he did a great job on that shutout there. Also, I read that he has become, I believe, the second. He's in second place for the all-time winningest goalies in Panthers history, right behind Luongo.
Yeah.
And if the Panthers decide to keep Bob at the pace Bob's going, or at least when looking at things, kind of ballpark figuring things, he could pass Luongo as the all-time wins leader, which I would be fine with that. I mean, it's funny because for so long, prior to the Stanley Cup run, people were like, let's get rid of Bob. He's awful, trade him. And all of a sudden he goes on this amazing Stanley Cup run and everybody's like, yeah, Bob, we love him. Woo, let's keep him forever.
Yeah, that's because Bob sucked before he got hot.
I think also
we can all laugh about it, but the bottom line is the reason why we said trade the sucker. I mean, you look at the beginning of last year, right, Eric?
Yeah. No, I mean he was
playing
awful at the start of last season. It was I don't know how or why he was that bad, but Stu and I kind of talked about this a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
We kind of figured out maybe because since Spencer Knight had his illness, since the team would have known that he had this issue, Bob has been lights out since that happened. So,
Bob knows he's the man. The team goes with him. How he goes, the team goes.
Yep.
So
you guys had been talking.
No, I was gonna say I'll let the team ride on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Just please,
you guys have been
stay healthy, Bob. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say I'll send all the prayers we can.
I say that because every game, guys are knocking him over. Every game, and the penalties are not getting called. And I think, God forbid, a million times, it doesn't take much for a 220-pound guy to fall on his leg the
Right.
wrong way, and he's gone for 20 games. So God forbid,
Won't happen.
Right.
The
But go ahead,
defensemen
Jake,
have to
guys-
do the defensemen have to do a better job of not letting that happen. That's where we miss Gudas.
Right.
Yep, that's another thing. Gudas is very much missed. You know what? On one hand, I'm surprised that he wasn't re-signed, but on the other hand, I guess it all came down to money, you know, and I guess maybe he just wanted a change of scenery. I don't know.
No, he didn't want to leave. Money.
Yeah, money. It just
Money.
there was just no space. You know, Zito's in this position with Bob's contract, and you know we'd love to keep everybody, right? But $3
Right.
million here, $4 million here. There's just not. We don't. When you take into consideration, you know, we talked about it: Forsling, Montour, Lundell, Reinhardt, and the year after that, you got Verhaeghe, who needs a contract before Bob's contract is up. So Zito's looking long term, and you know it's unfortunate, but you know I can miss him while also understanding why it had to happen.
You know, I got to ask you guys since we're talking contracts. So Kachuk's contract, see if I have this right. Is it 7 years, 80 something million that he signed last year?
No, it's 8 years, $9 million.
Yeah,
8 years.
Yeah, yeah,
8 years, 9 million a year.
yeah.
Maybe 9.5.
Was it
Nine and a half.
9.5? It's not 10. He didn't get as much as Barkov.
Okay, so I'm thinking. Thank you, by the way. I miscalculated my numbers, but if Kachuk's contract were not as big, or if we didn't give as money to Kachuk, do you think we'd be able to keep some players, or maybe not?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't matter anyway because we would have had to give that money to Huberdeau.
Yeah.
And don't forget Uyghur too. Don't forget Uyghur too. Look at all the money he got, right? So we took, instead of overpaying for Uyghur and Huberdeau, we turned that into underpaying for Kachuk.
Yeah, we Zito made a hell of a trade. Or I should say Eric made a hell of a trade.
It was one of the greatest trades, not just in Panthers history, but probably hockey history. I mean, Kachuk did.
I agree with you there. My boy called it.
Yeah, you did. You really did. And Jaws, you called it too. I mean, we've talked about that, you know, in previous streams and things. But what Kachuk did to this team, I mean, the first half of the year was okay. Second half and then into the playoffs, the last year, unbelievable. It's incredible how Kachuk was able to motivate the guys and play great games, and then, you know, beat Boston and Toronto and Carolina. I mean, you guys know this already. And I'm surprised that Kachuk did not win the Hart Trophy. He should have gotten the Hart for his job, the job he did with the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree with you 110%. The only problem is a guy named McDavid.
Yeah. No, if you want to talk about somebody that got robbed, it's Bill Zito not getting GM of the year.
Yes.
Okay?
Huge snub.
3 years,
Huge
3 years in a row. 3 years in a row.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, that's the thing. You mentioned McDavid, Stu. This is just my opinion. I think that the NHL is biased towards its big name stars like McDavid, like Crosby, like who's the other big star they talk about? Ovechkin, of course. Like when they look at guys like Kachuk, it's like they just don't take them into consideration despite all the work they've done over the season, if that makes sense.
Time out.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid scored 150 points last year. That's insane. There's only been 6 players to ever do that. So
they
yes,
have
I
a
agree.
second award.
I agree they're a little biased because of the name and whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But
maybe
it could have been. It's the most valuable player to his team,
right?
And that's where I think Kachuk should have won. But they usually go by, you know, the numbers that are put up.
Right.
It is a numbers game. It's a business. It's all about the numbers.
You can't take anything. Could you imagine Connor McDavid on this team?
Holy crap!
Wow, that we would, if McDavid was on the team, we'd probably win like 3 or 4 straight cups. Well, not literally.
How many guys would we have to give up to get him? Right.
That is true. Yeah, it would be
Reinhardt.
What'd you say?
Montour and Reinhardt.
Bite your tongue.
Trust me.
Dude, he was
Reinhardt,
trying to.
I think it's a very small percentage that Edmonton is going to trade McDavid. He's
I
their,
know.
yeah, no, they're not getting rid of him.
he's
Yeah.
their cash cow. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show you how much hockey is a team game. Because even though McDavid's got Draisaitl, Hyman, they got they don't have a
Evander Kane.
first class goalie. Their defense is not the greatest. It's like, a couple of players. But
You
let's
got
just
you
say
got it
it's
wrong though, Stu.
what?
You giving a Montour and
I was
Reinhardt, Ekblad and Reinhardt.
Oh,
Then,
come
then
on.
we're
I
gonna
was-
have a conversation.
yeah. Listen, I was being silly because there's just no way in hell that I would do that anyway. We're not getting Connor McDavid. It's just,
No.
All right. So what you're saying is, if we can't sign Sam Reinhart, we're gonna trade him at the deadline to Philly for Owen Tippett.
That might be a possibility if they get the right pieces in place. If they can get a good deal, who knows? I mean,
no,
anything's possible in the NHL.
that's what sucks the most about sports now,
Right.
because you never had a salary cap.
Yeah.
And I understand why it's in place,
yeah.
Yep.
but what
Well, they
sucks
really
is we
screwed it up.
finally have the right mix of players and the chemistry in the room and whatnot, and it's all because we can't make the cap that we're going to have to break this team up.
Yeah.
I don't know how Tampa did it. Tampa, every year, guys go, and they seem to find a way to bring guys in that they're still in them every year. Tampa's in the mix.
I think a lot of it is scouting. Like, they have really good hockey scouts that are at the games. They do their research and they're crunching in all the numbers, and somehow they just made it work. It's like here's a funny analogy. It's kind of like the Lightning were kind of like the Patriots of hockey. The New England Patriots.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like that sort of.
Yeah. It is. All right, bro. Matthew, any last words? My dinner's ready. I'm smelling it and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to eat.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I want to say it's good to see you guys again, and I'm happy that hockey is back. I'm looking forward to this season. At the same time, I'm not going to get my hopes up super high because in this game from last year, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that there will be some good things this season. We're going to see some good games, and hopefully we can try to replicate. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like last year, but hopefully we can try to replicate what they accomplished last season. I mean, what they did last season was absolutely amazing. It was so memorable, and just being around you guys and everybody else in the chat to witness history, or all the different channel members on here, was fantastic. I love it.
It was so. It was a hell of a ride. Maybe we'll get another one. So, all right, MJ.
Yep.
Thanks, brother. All right.
You're very welcome.
See you. Yep.
See you guys. Good night. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. All right, guys. I am cooked, and so is my dinner. So hey, Tom, Esoteric, we'll have to catch up with you next time. We're heading out.
Yeah.
She's been cooking dinner, and I've been smelling it. You all know how that goes. So thank you all.
We'll do it again.
Yeah. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Thank everybody for coming out. Appreciate it. We had a good time. Lots of good chat. And Kyle and I will be live 1/2 hour before the game starts tomorrow. And then we'll be live 9:30 in the morning on the football channel. And then we'll be live Monday night again for the next Panther game. So without further ado, everybody go do Friday night things, except Stu. You're not allowed. All right.
Enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, thanks.
Night all.
Good night.